Hey,
Hello,
hello.
everybody. C.Ray Brower here with Jose Molina with the Molina Home Team, and we are going to find out about fix and flips coming up next. And we are back. Hey, Jose, how's it going today?
I'm doing great, C.Ray. How are you, sir?
Very, very good. Very, very good. What's going on here with our recording on Facebook? Something's up. I'll see if I can get it going while we're talking. So,
Get it going.
yeah.
Yes.
If we can't get it, we'll just post it to them later. It looks
There you
like we're
go.
probably just going to post it to them later. So, what's been
Yep.
happening since
You
last
know,
month?
well, just been doing a lot of really interesting transactions. I'm doing a commercial deal right now in Los Banos, where there's a Berkshire Hathaway office that is being rented, and an investor wants to buy the building. The A church owns the building, and the buyer is wanting to buy this property. It's for sale at 1.5 million. The buyer's putting $600,000 down, and the seller's carrying back a $400,000 second at 4% interest, fully amortized, and all he needs is a $500,000 first mortgage. So I'm going to do what we call is a bridge loan for this client, which is basically just a 12 to a 24-month timeline for him to be able to get permanent financing for the commercial building. So it's kind of, that kind of stuff is what I'm doing. And it's not your normal cookie cutter single family residential transactions.
Yeah, yeah. Commercial definitely puts a whole bunch of different things in play. 4% second from the seller. That's like great, right?
Yeah. I think it was probably a very good selling point to the buyer. Of course, at 4% interest, who does
Yeah,
that? But
yeah.
I guess since most churches are nonprofit, I guess, a little bit of profit is better than no profit.
Well, yeah, exactly. I had a buyer that was looking to do some seller financing, and well, uh, they ended up wanting 9%, and of course, they could go ahead and get cheaper financing than what the seller wanted to carry back. I was kind of amazed at that they were trying to get that kind of money. But then, our thing today is fix and flip, and I had a flipper that he had a guy that had like $5 million available to him all the time, and had always gave him really great interest rates. The interest rates went up, and he's wanting 9% on his money to help the flipper flip houses. I mean, you just never know what's out there. But what kind of deals have you got for fix and flippers? That was our theme today was fix and flip. So
Yeah,
maybe you can go over that a little bit with people.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, and I can imagine that, and that fix and flipper probably flipped out when he was going to have to pay 9% interest. But
He's looking for a new person, that's for sure.
It's not bad interest, Ray, if you think about it, because if he's not paying closing costs, and if he's not paying a lot of other lender fees that really end up yielding a higher rate of cost to the consumer, then
Right.
looking at it from that perspective, might really kind of bring things back home. But at the and so right now, what we're doing is that we're doing fix and flips for individuals, whether if they're first time fix and flippers or if you're a seasoned fix and flipper. The typical layout for someone that is a brand new fix and flipper. If you find a house and trying to find financing that's affordable and not too outlandish. This is what we would call, I guess, a not a hard money loan, but you know, it's a fix and flip loan, but it's not going to take you to the cleaners. Most of your real hard money, and when they say real hard money, it means 12, 13% and 6 points. So that's what you call real hard money. And
That's
so,
real hard.
right. And we don't call fix and flip money real hard money. We call it hard money, but it's not real hard. it's just
Semi hard.
it's just my hard, yes. Anyway, we can go in a different direction there, but at any rate, the like I'm doing I'll start with Tammy. You know Tammy, right? Tammy DeLong.
Yeah,
She's a real estate agent that I've known for many, many years. She also flips houses
right,
with the investors, and so she offered me an opportunity to help her, and we're structuring a transaction right now where they've got about 9 flips under their belt. So the way that this tiered system works with this company is that the more flips you have, the lower the rate that you're going to pay.
right,
Right. So if you have 0 to 1 or 0 to 3, you're going to probably pay between 11.5 to 12% interest and 3 points. And you're going to put down 25%. That's on your first deal. But once you get past the third one, then your rate's going to be 11.5 and 3 points. The points still stay at about 3%, maybe sometimes 2.5, depending on the size of the transaction. But in Tammy's case, she's done 9 transactions, and we're doing a property that we're buying, or that she's buying, for and $30,000, and the financing is going to be based on 70% of the after improved value. So
right,
that's always the best way to kind of figure out the numbers. So the way that we did that is that 1.4 million is what we're expecting the after improved value of the property. And so 1.4 million times 70%, it comes out to about $980,000. But
right,
the bank always wants to, lend on the precautionary measure. Take the lower of the two numbers, because they go based on the after improved value, let me see, the acquisition. They do 85% of the acquisition cost. So whatever the purchase price plus the the remodel costs, and 85% of that. And so it gets a little confusing, but for the most part, at the end of the day, the buyer's coming in with $150,000. So the loan amount's going to be 930,000. The buyer's going to come in with 150, and then that 150 is going to be set aside. And basically, once the construction costs, the construction is going to start in a 5 to 7 draw phase over a period of time, because it's a pretty big house. It's 4,000 square feet. So it's
yeah,
probably going to take, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 draws in proportionate amounts, right? According to the work that's done over time,
right.
until it adds up to the total 100% of the money that they brought in. And the cost for that loan is going to be 10.5 and 2.5 points.
Okay,
And that's not too bad, because again, the Tammy got the better rate because of her experience,
right.
and knowing that she is able to perform at a high level. The lender is less cautious, if you will, to lend to someone that is able to do the transaction and complete it, for that matter.
Correct, correct. So,
Yeah.
just so everybody's clear, the draws are for the construction cost. So the loan that she's taking out is for purchase and construction costs, but she's not paying interest on the construction cost until after the draw. Is that correct?
Yeah, she's actually this is not this is not your typical construction loan.
Right,
That's why it's sort of kind of a hard money, but not really.
right.
So she is still going to pay interest on the loan balance.
Okay,
It's not a line of credit. You're talking about a line of credit, and so most construction loans, the way they're set up, is that if the cost of construction is 500,000, and the bank is going to give the consumer a $500,000 limit, or home equity, like a line of credit, if you will, and then so if they take out a 50,000 for all the demo and all the whatever expenses that they have initially,
right.
then they're going to pay interest on that 50,000, and then they'll pay interest as the balance gets bigger and bigger. This
But
one
on the
here,
fix and flip loan, it's not that way.
no, they got to pay that 10 and a half every month. So it's not like for your everyday borrower. It's someone that has some reserves, and some funds and some investors to back them up, because of course you can do it as an individual, but you have to have a crew, because everything is so time sensitive that you got to make sure that you get the project completed in time, because once you go beyond, maybe you have a 3 month target, once you go beyond that 3 months, then all of a sudden the holding cost is going to kill you. I mean, that's an
Right,
$8,000 a month payment on that $930,000,
right,
you know,
right,
and so the expected after improved value of 1.4, it's a big spread, from 930, and that's a 500, almost a $500,000 spread. So
right,
they can probably afford to pay the holding cost for maybe 6 months to a year, worst
right.
case. But and then so there's enough fat there on that deal where if in case they had to keep it longer, then they would still be able to weather the storm.
Right, exactly. That's what a lot of people don't understand about any kind of project like that is holding costs. The PG&E's got to be on, the water's got to be on, the insurance is being paid, taxes are being paid, the loan balance is being paid, the workers are being paid, everybody's being paid. There's a lot that goes into fix and flip. Even though when you watch it on TV, man, it's easy. It's
Right,
easy.
right, because they time lapse everything.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, and I'm really impressed with a lot of those renovation classes, those renovation programs, because they really, there's some really bad ones and there's some really good ones.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, the fix and flips is not for the faint of heart. You really got to be someone that is able to make a decision quickly, and get your costs breakdown estimated, in a quick minute. Because if you don't really know what the cost of materials are and the cost of labor, and all of that really has a big it's got that's your make or break point. I mean, most of your transactions, you got to make your money up front. You got to
Right.
calculate the numbers up front, and if they don't work up front, they're not going to work on the back end.
Never work on the back end.
Right, right. Because you don't want to walk away from a project that you just kind of get in over your head. And so I'll walk you through a quick fix and flip, the way, at least the way that I do my fix and flips, just so you can kind of get a little bit a bit of an idea of how I managed it. But I work a little bit different than I am, even though I'm the lender and I do loans for people that want to get fix and flips. But not everybody has cash, right? And sometimes people have cash for the renovation, and sometimes people have cash to buy the project, but they don't have the cost for the renovation. You know,
Right,
so that's where I'm at. So if I find a project, I'll more than likely will finance. I'll pay a good portion of it in cash, and then I'll partner up with a contractor, and that contractor his responsibility is to pay for all the labor, all the materials, all of his employees, all of the labor, all the materials, and he's got to turn the house over ready within 60 days is the time that we're working with.
Right.
And the way that we work that out, I'll give you an example. Is I had we had I bought a house for 210,000, and then I paid cash. I cashed out I borrowed from my 401k, paid cash for it, and then I partner up with a contractor. The contractor spent $60,000 in renovation costs. So that took us to 270. And then after that, basically, the agent that sold us the property, the deal was that he was going to list it. So
Right.
um, he ended up listing it for 400,000. And so we did okay after 90 days. And so it was 400,000. That was the sales price. Then I paid myself back the 210. Then I paid him his 60, and then of course paid the commission for the real estate agent. And
Right.
so there was about
Closing
eighty
costs.
thousand dollars there left there. C.Ray, there was about $80,000 left there. That was the profit.
Right.
And so my contractor and I, we just kind of went down the middle on that. We
Right.
split it. So
Yeah.
that's generally the way. That's one way to do it. There's a lot of ways to break it up, but it all depends on what kind of an agreement you have with someone that's doing the work. But super important, you got to have that contractor that does his job.
Yeah.
That's where a
It's
lot of people
super
get
important to
burned.
have the entire team. The entire team. You got to have the right lender. You've got to have the right agent that finds them. You've got to have the right contractor. You've got, yeah, I mean, everything has to be in line to be able to move forward on these kind of projects for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah, it's
sure.
definitely a
You
team
know,
effort.
yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
has to be a team effort. Everybody has to be working for the same goal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it's it's not new, but it's relatively new, I guess, within the last couple 3 years. The fix and
Right.
flippers, right? The loan programs. But what I'm seeing too is that I am seeing a lot of maybe not a lot, but I am seeing them. These wholesalers,
The what?
the wholesalers,
Yes.
the wholesalers that are selling the fix and flips to contractors.
Right.
That's going to end soon, right? I mean, there's already states that outlaw that, and they will fine the person up to $25,000. I think it's Michigan is one of them. I'm not sure if it's Michigan. I'll let you know who it is, but I know there's certain states that outlaw wholesaling.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, yes. So if you're not licensed, you're able to do one flip a year, and then if you do more than that, then you can get basically nailed for a $25,000 fine. Because you're doing business without a license,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're hurting the real estate the industry as well. I think that you're pulling away from what opportunity that you could have had to help someone and actually be licensed, and do a thorough job and protect the client if in case something went wrong once the transaction closed, because that always never happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. There are no unscrupulous people in the world.
Yeah, and so this deal that I had going, we found out at the last minute there was a wholesaler tied to it.
Right.
So the fix and flips on the fix and flip loans, we we will finance up to 50% of the flipper's fee. We will
Right.
finance up to 50% of the flipper's fee. So if they're charging 20, we will roll 10 into the deal, and then the buyer, it's the buyer's responsibility to cover the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That
know,
makes
it's
sense.
like it's like a when you go to do the foreclosure auctions, right? It's a buyer's
Right.
premium.
Right. Right.
It's a buyer's premium.
Yeah,
And
I mean, and that makes sense.
yeah. And so for those times when that comes, across our desk, then there is a fix to that. But what I don't like is that sometimes these flippers they'll tell you what their intentions are after the fact,
Yeah,
which whatever, you
yeah,
know. But
yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of what it is, and that's what. And we only do the fix and flips. We can do 1 to 4 units, 1 to 4 units, single family up to 4 units. So if you've got a house, a big ginormous house that is zoned residential 4 units, you could split it up into 4 units.
Right.
You know, just like you would be able to, because it's zoned 4 units, so you can convert it. Because I've seen a lot of the Victorian houses downtown Stockton,
Right.
where
To be
there's
converted. Yeah.
these big houses that have been converted from a fourplex to a big house, and then sometimes an opportunity might present itself where you can convert that back to 4 units and make it a cash flow cash cash flow cow. Yes, sir.
Milk that cash flow cow.
That's right. That's right.
There you go. There you go. Yes. Yeah, multifamily is a whole different dynamic when you've had an old Victorian that's been converted at one time and then converted back from a big house, converted to a number of units, and then converted back to a house. You do have that possibility of changing it back as long as the zoning's still there, right?
Yeah, and but I think I think you have to be a really 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 specialty contractor, because those old Victorians are not easy. They're very very finicky, because you want to keep the integrity of the style,
Right.
and a lot of those houses aren't they like protected, for by who does that? C.Ray, is it the city of
Uh,
Stockton,
as
or
far as
who?
making it historical,
Yeah.
that is a great question. I'm not positive, but
Oh,
there is
side.
a town in northern Idaho, Wallace, Idaho.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Wallace, Idaho was in the path of I 80, I 80, I 40. Anyway, the highway that runs across the top of the United States, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it was dead in the path of the freeway. They were going to tear the town down to put the freeway in. The people in the town went, it's the only town in the United States that every building in the town is a historical landmark. And the people in the town went and got the entire town to be a historical landmark. So they redesigned the freeway where it comes up and goes over the top of Wallace.
What?
It's a pretty, yeah, it's a neat little town. Went and seen it. It's really neat. I'll have to go find the picture and post it for everybody. They have a manhole cover in town, in the center of the town, that says Wallace, Idaho. I think it's Wallace, Idaho, center of the universe.
Oh, they take pride in that, huh?
Yeah. They
Wallace, Idaho. I'm
actually
gonna have to.
redesigned the freeway to go over and around the town so that they wouldn't tear down any historical landmarks.
Wow, that took an act of Congress.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
hilarious. That's kind of cool fun fact. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to look
little
look it
fun
up now.
fact. You just never know what's out there in the world until you're out there in the world, and all of a sudden you find it. I mean, we were in Coeur d'Alene and was talking to somebody in one of the little stores, and they wanted to know what we were doing, while we were there, and said, I don't know, we're just, cruising around. They said, well, have you been to Wallace? And I said, well, we have a Wallace around the corner from us in California. I've been there.
Right,
He goes,
right.
no, Wallace, Idaho. You gotta go see it. The entire town is a historical landmark, and told me the story about the freeway. And when you get there, the freeway goes up and down and around and over the top of the town.
How old are the buildings? Are they like 100, 150
Yeah,
years old?
1800s
Okay.
brick buildings. Yeah, I mean, I've got some pictures. I'll go find them again, and I think I posted them way back when. It's probably time to bring them back up because
There
it
you
was
go.
a pretty cool thing. It was a pretty
Right
cool thing.
on.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. Wow, that's awesome.
So
No, that's good to know. I have to check it out. But anyway, so that's kind of what I got, Mr. C.Ray. And the one thing that I noticed that in my industry of hard money, because hard money is kind of the center of the fix and flips, um, is that most hard money lenders, they don't want to go into a rural area,
right,
where you got 20, 30 acres and a small house. They
right.
they don't like that. I already had a couple of declines. I was trying to do a loan on a 8 unit complex, 8 units on 2 acres that was generating $13,000 a month. Couldn't get it financed. It
Really?
was it was cash flowing. 8 houses on 3 acres in Dos Palos, which is right by Los Banos. You know that place, right?
I know Dos Palos. In fact, it's weird that you said Dos Palos because it was just last night that was talking to Sue, and she was looking at some houses out of state. She's thinking about moving and blah blah blah. And she said, "Oh, this town is really nice, but we probably can't live there because the houses she was looking at was $1.5 million or something. A bunch of really nice houses." And I said, "Well, every town has a good and a bad and a medium. I mean, there's always in towns." I said, "Oh, I take that back. Dos Palos, I don't think has any nice homes in it. I've been in Dos Palos, so
Yeah, they have, but the only nice they do have some houses that are nice, but it's typically on acreage.
right.
It's the ranchers,
Oh yeah, it's
right?
out there.
Uh,
It's farmland out there. Yeah,
yeah, it's farmland. If you're probably on 20 acres with a big house, that's going to be your nice house. But
yeah,
anything else is just going to be pretty first middling.
yeah. Right in town. It's the ghetto."
Armpit.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
everybody, Jose Molina with the Team Molina Home Loan Team. There,
Yes,
is
sir.
that? Did I get it out right?
You got it right, man. You got it
So
right.
sometimes my tongue gets tied up on my teeth.
That's
So
okay. That's all right. It's all good.
everybody, his stuff's been running down there across the bottom. Make sure if you need any hard money, you need financing that is not just your normal run of the mill kind of financing. Make sure you get hold of Jose and his team. You all go out and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day. And thank you so much, Jose, for stopping
Thank
in.
you.
Remember C.Ray to find your perfect home. You all be
Yes.
good, and we will see you again.